version. I hope things are going well. We have recently finished covering on Tectonics topic 1 and topic 2. So these are the topics that will be coming out for your coming TA. So we had a few practice questions. I wanted you to recap a bit on what you have already learned and also to go through some things, remind you again on the different parts of understanding an exam question. So one thing that I asked you guys to do was to populate your responses to these few questions. So you can see, right, the instructions were annotate on the question, which you can see in this group they never do. Okay, so but anyway, like I promised you, this is going to be a recap, helping you to revise a little bit. So just remind you again, the 6 things to look out for, 5 of which the most important ones are, what's the command word, right? Then what is the topic that the question is asking you for information from? What's the scope of the topic? How do you address the question? How do you limit what you write? Then after that, do you need evidence? Do you need example? And lastly, how many points to write, which comes from the marks and also comes from if the command word is split, if there are multiple command words. Okay, so this one is fairly simple question. Describe the formation of a tsunami. So because this is formation, so this is process. This means 1 mark per step of that process. There's only one process. So truth be told, when I was marking this, I did this exact thing. I went backwards. I start with point number 4. What is it about a tsunami? It will crash on the coastal area. How bad is it? It will devastate the shoreline. So this is 1, the end goal. Then after that, what happens before that in order for a tsunami to get formed? So what are the 3 steps? The one that happened just before it, why is it so big and so tall? Because at the coastal area, friction with the shallower seabed slow down, then it becomes closer and increase in height. Right? So this is 1 step just before that. Before that, what's the step that happened? The step that happened is it is a low height. So because of that, it travels outwards at high speed. So that is the step that happens before. Before that, why is there even a low height wave? Because of undersea earthquake, seabeds to be displaced. So a large volume of water is lifted. So again, 4 steps involved in order for you to get the 4 marks. Okay, next question, talking about describing the impacts of an earthquake. So let's take a look. Maybe I want to boil down to just talking about the question itself. This word impacts. So impacts, as we have already learned before, it comes as an E plus L, right? So this is the process. How does it happen? This is the L, which is the outcome. Okay, so in this case, what is this actually asking for? E plus L, as you know, this is an explanation, right? You explain by having the process and then share with me what's the outcome. Yeah, but in this case, the command word says describe. So describe could be different thing. It could be describe the processes. It could be describe the outcome. In this case, describing the impacts of an earthquake means it's very clearly talking about the outcome. So this is the focus. Meaning, one thing like this, the ground shaking, right? When the plates move, you don't need to explain why the ground shake, right? The fact that the plates slip and then there's a large release of energy because of the energy that was built up, blah blah blah, all doing it. Okay, the focus more is in what happens because of it. But the good thing that Max, Jingjun and Ryan put in is he brought in ground shaking. Because without it, right, you cannot just say, oh, suddenly the building is destroyed. Then how does the building get destroyed? Why is this an earthquake problem? Why is it not a typhoon problem? So the ground shaking causes the building and infrastructure to collapse and may injure the people, causing loss of life. This is 1 mark. Okay, exactly why I underline. Right? Do you need this portion? This E is good to have. Right? You won't be penalized for it. But in this question, no marks set aside for it. Okay? And also you realize ground shaking, right, is one thing, right? So then, do you need to talk about something else, say tsunami? You don't need to, because the focus is on the outcome. So you need not actually bring up too many things. So the one ground shaking, right, can have a second outcome. The economic impact where the building need money so that it can repair. So that is 2 marks already. Okay? Third one is talking about the rupturing the oil and chemical factories, polluting the land and water. Then it will cause death and damage to habitat. Done. This is the third point. So already got 3 marks. There's more points here, you can see, right? Damage human services and all that. This will be a 4th mark, but at the moment, because it's a 3 mark question, they already got it. Okay, so the exam tip here is remember the E and the L. when it comes to impacts and what is it that you need to focus on. Okay, the important part is usually the outcome, no problem. The people like to say how they die, people like to say how things get expensive, but they seldom focus on the process. In this case, you don't need to, but in other cases you might, especially if the question say explain. Okay, such as this one, explain how the impacts of earthquake impact the local economy. So you can see, right, economy is for sure the L. Economy for sure is the L. Right, you're right, this is the scope, this is how they want you to narrow down to. But in this case, it's explain how. So you need to give me the E and the L. So the E must be there. In this case, we can see that destroy infrastructure and home, money spent on rebuilding and repairing. This is one L. Right? The factory being destroyed, then pollute the land. Actually, this one is not even a relevant L. This one is environment. Right? Water shortage from broken piping. This one is social. Then shortage of food, there's lesser fish to source for food. This one is social. So not relevant. There is one L though. But you realize here I didn't give any mark yet because they are missing the E. I genuinely don't know how did the earthquake destroy the thing. Explain how, right? You can tell me about the tsunami because of the water being displaced and resulting in a large wave that destroy coastal areas, resulting in infrastructure and homes being destroyed. Therefore, money need to be spent. Don't have. So I can't tell. No E at all. Yeah. So 1L, no E, no marks. Right? Because the others not even a relevant L either. Okay. So the question then becomes, how many outcomes can you talk about for the same tsunami? You say, for example, you already say how the tsunami happened briefly. The E is there. Then you're talking about the L, the outcome. It destroyed, therefore you need to repair. Can you say something else, such as people being injured, they need to spend money on healthcare? The answer is yes, you can. Just like in previous question, you can see, right? Ground shaking, there was 1 point here and another point here. Tsunami can also have 2 points. How many points can you actually write? Can you give me a third one just because of tsunami? Then my answer would be no. Because remember, the question is talking about earthquake, not tsunami. So you must talk about tsunami, maybe tsunami affect in 2 different ways. Then maybe landslide, how it affect in some other way. Because remember, it's not a question on tsunami, it's a question on earthquake. So it cannot be exclusively tsunami. Okay? Next point, compare the differences. This is something that we have gone through in class before, one of the quizzes I like to give you before you can sit down. So compare the differences, not much, but Max, Ryan, Cheng Jun, one thing good about the way you answer the question is 1 mark per criteria. Okay, so going upwards versus going downwards. Yeah, down the slopes. Next one is going slow versus going fast because of the gravity. And Tefra has got problems that pyroclastic flow is not the same. So this is different impacts. Is there a problem to write like this? No. Right? The fact that the impacts are different is definitely a difference. So you can compare that as a difference. But can I then get 1 mark for saying, oh, Tefra causes respiratory problems while pyroclastic flow causes people to feel burned because of the high temperature? Then Tefra causes building to destroy because when the dust settles, but pyroclastic flow causes building to destroy because of the debris they're shooting at. This one becomes 2 different things, or the problem is still the same criteria. So it's still 1 mark. So be careful what you choose to write. Okay, it's comparing the difference between Tefra and pyroclastic flow. It's not a difference between the impacts of Tefra and pyroclastic flow. Okay, if you feel a bit confused, you rewind back. The explanation is relatively clear. You just need to listen through it. Okay, next question. Account for the social and environmental impacts of volcanic eruption. So if you wonder, impacts again. So account, then what are you supposed to write then? Account, like I mentioned before, is the same as explain, meaning E plus L both must have. So you can see here, right, for example, between Angel, Vera and Lian Dui. When I was marking this, I looked at the E. Volcanic eruption release rocks and harmful substance that cause people to breathe in, get respiratory issue, cause death and injury. The L is very strong, right? Very clear. Can see that people are suffering. The social impact is very evident. But the E is not very clear. It just says harmful substances, very vague. Rocks you cannot breathe in, so not relevant. Harmful substances you can breathe in, but what harmful substances are we talking about? the sulfur dioxide, the particulate matter, the small fine dust that gets suspended in the air. These are better ways for you to write your answer. Okay. Second point, it may also destroy buildings and vegetation when rocks hit them. This one just outrightly I just didn't give at all. First one I can still consider, should I give or don't give? Second one, I'm just not giving. Reason being, these rocks come from where when I'm asking you about volcanic eruption, not about rocks, not landslide. Unless you can give me the link between volcano and rocks. Right? Explosive eruption causing rocks to fly outwards when the especially at the stratovolcano, then the rock destroy the building and then I would accept. Okay? Either ways, the E itself not strong, right? That's one feedback. For this second sentence, the second feedback that I can give is destroy buildings is physical. What is this? Destroy buildings is, oh no, what happened here? Oh yeah, destroy buildings is physical. I cannot. Okay, destroy buildings is physical. Anyway, then after that, destroy vegetation is maybe environmental, but very vague. If you say loss of habitat, then better lah. Okay. So effectively, not social. Environmental itself also not very clear. Oh sorry, not environmental also not very clear. So I cannot give. Okay, last one. Over thousands of years, volcanic rock breaks down, undergo weathering to form fertile soil. Very good and very strong E. This helps farmer yield more crops so people can eat. Very good social impact. Okay, so this one I get 1 to 2 marks. For sure can get for sure 1 mark. The last point, but quite confident to be able to give 2 marks. Okay, question number 6. Describe the hazards that arise. So you can see here again. Describe the hazards. So you can see when it comes to talking about it, the tephra, you don't need to tell me tephra is made of what. You don't need to tell me why the tephra come about, because the command word here is describe. You don't need to explain in detail the E, but for sure I need to know why is it a hazard. So the L. So it will accumulate, cause the roof to collapse and blah blah blah. So 1 mark. Can also cause money need to be repaired. So this is a 2nd mark. Same like the earlier one. The only thing is it's now volcano. You can see here 2 marks, but the first paragraph didn't get anything because I can't tell. I'm sorry. I'm sure they missed out one word. Can burn the tree. The burn the tree cause forest fire, then it spread and da da da. I agree, right? But the thing is, because it's not there, I can't give it to you. Right? I cannot assume for you. Question number 7. Assess. So assess, if you're wondering how does it work, this is the same as evaluate. Evaluate meaning you need to have a stand. It's like talking about the last paragraph. Right? Last paragraph of an essay, I mean. I can always test you. Okay, in case you didn't know, I can test you as a question on its own. Okay, so what I'm expecting to see is, can you tell me why earthquake is considered, in this case, large scale, and why volcano is considered small scale? And if the way that they're compared, so this is 1 mark each, 1 mark each. If the way that they're being compared can allow me to see your stand, then you have your 3rd mark. Okay, so how do I go about giving the marks here? Here for sure, they can very clearly, they can tell me why earthquake is large scale. Very well done. You can read through what they say. But the volcano being small scale, right, was not really seen because they were being a bit selective in their choice of what to say. They talked about releasing harmful substances into the air. Only affected area. That's not true. Tephra can spread. Sulfur dioxide can spread. Just because you choose not to say it doesn't mean it's not true. So actually, ultimately, the correct answer here is volcanic eruption is actually larger scale. Because winds can make them travel regionally or even globally. Yeah? But it doesn't change the fact that this is very good phrasing, very good writing, even though the evaluation not complete because of the earthquake portion. So that's why I cannot give you more than the 1 mark. Okay? Last few questions actually was not attempted, so not much I can do. If you didn't choose to attempt, then I'm not going to go through it lah. Okay, so this is my short video going through your responses. Please remember, when it comes to revising for impacts, the 2.4, the most recent topic that we talked about, remember that when it comes to explaining, it's always E plus L. When it comes to describing, take a look at what are they saying. Describe how, describe the process, in this case like the tsunami just now, or describe the outcomes, describe the hazard, describe the impacts. Okay, and if they never say positive or negative, actually both can be accepted. For example, there was one good response from who? Yeah, I can't recall. There's one. They were talking about the what fertile soil one just now. Okay, I give up. And then there was one just now was about the fertile soil. So that one, the question just talk about impacts, so it could be a positive or negative impact. But if the question specify problems, please make sure you don't say anything positive. Okay, then when it comes to you revising topic 2.4, remember there's one whole thing on the right side for each of the table. That's the examples. Well, we didn't mean examples is examples. You already can understand the concept. That's very good. Okay, but examples, I'm not going to go through and just repeat the words inside the textbook for you to memorize. So just remember, when it comes to examples, we've gone through this a couple of times before. Name of place, you need the year, you need, and one relevant detail. You don't need to go and memorize the whole thing. One relevant detail should be sufficient. Okay, that's all I have for you guys. Don't forget to revise the entirety of your Tectonic textbook from topic 1 all the way until now. Topic 1 also includes formation process, the diagrams, the stuff that we've already done through before, the different the oceanic lah, the magnetic striping lah, the sedimentation lah, and why the plates move, and the characteristics of the different types of crust and all that. Okay, so it's a fair amount of things, but nothing that you are not exposed to, and nothing that I'm confident and things that I'm confident that you will be able to answer as long as you revise. Alright, have a good day guys.